So far you have seen how to create get API request, post API request and put API request using Playwright and TypeScript. In this video I will discuss how to create patch API request by passing the partial API request body. So let's start discussing the manual use case first. So we will create the booking by using the create booking API. Then we will check the booking details are present in the application server or not, whatever we have created in the create booking. Then we will generate the token and then we will pass the partial API request body and we will try to update the resource details in the application server. And if you see here guys, so we got the latest updated first name. And if you see the get booking details API, so we have the first name is different here, right? So after making the patch API call, so we are able to update the first name. So if I hit get booking details API, so I will get the latest first name here, correct? So this is all about the manual use case. So far we have already automated the create booking API, get booking details API, and also we are able to generate the token for the put API request. So only we have to create the patch API request using Playwright now. So here what I will do, right? So simply I will go to the partial update booking API. So simply I'll copy the API request body and then so under the API requests folder, I'm creating the one JSON file. So let's put the API request in the JSON file first. So here I'll say patch API underscore request dot JSON. So you can add the more field and respective values also. So just for the demo purpose, I'm just adding the only one key and respective value here. You can try adding the multiple fields and respective values. So let's quickly create a spec file under chapter 6. So here I will give the spec file name as 07 patch API request.spec.ts. That's it. Now I will go to the put API request.spec file. So simply I will copy the test from the put API request spec file. Then I will paste it in the new spec file. So firstly, let's update the test title here. So here I'll say create patch API request using Playwright and TypeScript. Then, so here we have to import the patch API request JSON file. So let's do that. So previously we were importing the put API request file. So let's import the this time patch API request body. So let's add the file name here. So that's it. We are done with importing the patch API request file in the current spec file. So let's create the patch API request. So here I'm coming down. So here we are creating the put API request. So here I'll say create patch API request, and previously we were calling the put method. This time I'm calling the patch method, and here we have to pass the booking slash and booking ID here. If you look at the Postman also patch API call, we are passing the booking slash booking ID. And if you see here in the headers, so we are passing the content type as application slash JSON, and also we are passing the cookie as the token equal to token number. And if you see here, so headers also we are passing the content type and cookie. And here we have to pass the patch API request. Already we have imported it. So let's pass the patch API request JSON object here. Then, so let's update the variable names here. So after making this call, patch API call, so we will be getting the API response here. So here I'll say variable name as patch API response. So let's validate the status code and status text. If you see this patch API call, so we are getting 200 and OK. So let's validate these two values. So firstly, I will put the patch API response. Then, so firstly, we are validating the status code and then status text. So let's convert this into the JSON so that we can print the patch API response in the output. So here I'll say patch API JSON response. So after taking this patch API response, we are converting this into the JSON, and then by using the stringify method. So we are converting the JSON object into the string and we are printing in the output. So here I'll say patch API response. So we are done with creating the patch API request. Now let's run the test and look at the output. And we should be able to create the booking, and also we should be able to verify the booking details, and we should be able to update the booking details in the application server. And if you see here, our test is working fine. Let's verify the output. Firstly, we are able to create the booking. So this is our booking ID, and this is the post API response. And then here we have the get API response. Then we are generating the token here, and then so after making the patch API call, right? So just we have updated the first name here, right? So this is the patch API response after updating the booking details, right? So this is perfectly working fine. We are able to update the first name. You can try to update the rest of the fields. If you find any challenges, you can let me know. So this is how you can create the patch API request in Playwright and TypeScript.